Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Salam Media. I'm your host for this evening, Thaakir Dawood, taking you through for the next 45 minutes of the show. We chat in all things sport. Contact us, like, comment, and share. Join us on social media, interact and engage with us. As we're going to be having one of the conversations that many around the country would be wishing to have. We're going to be chatting to the inaugural United Rugby Championship champions, the DHL Stormers. On the line with us will be Labeeb Levy, who's going to be telling us a bit more of what happened behind the scenes in that 18-13 victory over the Bulls. The Stormers beat the Bulls for the third time this season with that victory, and that victory took them to 11 straight wins in the URC. Well, to tell us a bit more about that success recipe, we're joined by Labeeb Levy. Assalamu alaikum, Labeeb. Thank you for joining me on
Walaikum
Salam Evening.
Walaikum Salam, Salam Media listeners as well as you, Archie. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I'm surprised you made it to the show after seeing the celebrations, and one could say that you still got the moves in what's trending on social media.
It's right, man. You see it and it looks like you have the moves. It's not the real moves. But for today.
Labib, I mean, we can't start this conversation by not asking you how was the bus tour around the city, and how were you guys received by the city of Cape Town today?
The bus tour was quite nice. We started this morning. We met early at the stadium. There was basically the starting team had to do sponsorship engagements before the tour. And then there were two buses, yellow or red bus, so the plates were divided equally. Obviously, then driving from the stadium down to the parade, we were received by the mayor and the premier of Cape Town, Western Cape, obviously speeches, etc. And then when we got to the parade, there was quite a nice, large crowd from Cape Townians waiting for us. And then some more speeches, dancing with the trophy, pictures with the trophy as well as obviously engaging with the fans. Then went on a basically a bus tour throughout town, up Adley Street, up Boyle Street, through Long Street, back Loop Street, back to the stadium, which was about it took about 2 hours, and the streets of Cape Town was lined with all the fans, and obviously I thought it was quite encouraging and quite amazing for the players and the fans as well. They really enjoyed it, and the players enjoyed it, and just wanted to say thank you to the fans for pitching. And we went to the stadium where we did like team photos, etc. So it went by very quickly. By 1:45 we were done. So from the morning 8:30 till about 12:30 we were busy on the bus
Well, I
tour.
mean, just in time for Juma on a Friday, Lapib,
Yeah,
trophy
I
is
think
that
so. That
trophy going to be making a tour of Book Up soon? Because I mean, come on, you're now a legend in the community.
yeah. Some players actually said it was private up there. Well, basically, the trophy actually will be the people of Cape Town's trophy. It's not actually out to the people of Cape Town. So there is going to be engagements around it will make its way to schools and to various projects, etc. And so it will move around, obviously, with security, but it is going to be made available in certain communities, well, most communities for people who couldn't make it out today.
Well, Labib, those are the celebrations. I mean, let's get back into the nitty gritties now. The match 18-13, one would have never expected that match to turn on its head the way it did after starting as quick as it did with the Bulls coming out like a house on fire. The Stormers managed to turn that match on its head and convert the pressure and momentum in their favor. Labib, you've hardly got nails on your fingers, but what was it like
Yeah,
sitting in that coach's box throughout that match?
yeah, yeah. Look, we had a plan. We had a plan for them with all the Bulls. All the years, it's always been like that, and haven't even changed much. What the Bulls present, you know what they're presenting. They're always going to present that. So our plan was obviously not to give them more balls because they scored off a more basically two phases later they scored off the more, right? So that was our plan. obviously were penalized early and they got the line out, which led to that. But then, like example, they had 12 line out in the game, and all 12 except one which lost. They were mauling, and we knew that that is what they were going to present, and they always presented that. But our plan was obviously to kick whenever in the middle of the field, just to put it in the side, and obviously it was quite a kicking battle, up and unders, etc. Contestables, protecting the ball. So we also targeted Kirkley a bit at the back to keep him busy with the high balls, because we obviously saw him as a potential threat. So we kept him busy, which took him out of the game from an attacking perspective. But the guys, rugby-wise, they had commitment. They had commitment on the field. You could see it. They never gave up. They also had to defend for periods. With some good turnovers done. I mean, Kirkley himself had a line break with probably in the 79th or 80th minute, and he couldn't throw the left to right pass, which created opportunity. Well, defensive opportunity for us, and they couldn't score. But it was a tight match, and we just had to pull it through. But our plans that we played again seemed to work, and to the similar plan we've done for the last three matches. We played them, and even similar plan for years gone by, because the Bulls are always going to come try and bully you. They're going to try and out physical you, out muscle you. What you know what's coming, but you know if you can just absorb early on, being good defensively, dealing with the pods of nine, just landing up basically, and then you always with a chance of beating them. So basically, Flair versus brute force, and I always believe Flair is always going to win if you apply it properly, because of moving it away from space. Although obviously we both played quite a kicking strategy on the night as well.
Labeeb, for you, what was the turning point in that game where you knew that the game is now swinging in your favor?
Well, as I said, that if we look just territory position wise, second half we won the territories. We kept them probably. I don't have the stats on now, but we were most of the time in better superior positions on the field during the second half, which showed us that I don't know if it was possibly the fatigue because of the travel last week, but we just felt that we were stronger all the time, dealing with collisions. Not like they were running over us in various aspects. We had a good couple of turnovers, as I mentioned, which helped when they were just getting momentum, and which we just kept the pressure on them, and just basically get our foot on on their jugular, and actually strangle them, not allowing them to play in our half or get to our line for more, etc. So that worked for us.
Labeeb, you also play a role of a father figure for many players in the team. And if you look at the awards list, I mean, Leolan Zas, tournament's top try scorer, Ivan Roos, next gen player, also fans player of the season, as well as the players player of the season, and the big one, the player of the season. But then you look at the dream team, and we've got the likes of Warika Lant in there. Many of the supporters, listeners, and viewers at home know that Warwick went through one of the most difficult 2 years in his career after getting injured, and it led to a lot of mental health issues and starting back with rehab from the beginning. Take us on a bit of that journey and give us insight into Warwick Kalant's journey, and now ending it off before he leaves the Stormers with making the URC dream team.
Yeah, all three players had their downs, and obviously were ups. And I'll just start by Leolan Zas. He had a major injury a few years ago, and then he moved to the Sharks, and he couldn't really get to that form he had when he came into the team as a youngster. And then he got the opportunity last year, I think, ironically against the Bulls, against the Bulls in the preparation cup. He scored 2 tries there. and that just put him on the next level of confidence. But he was fine basically to make the starting lineup. Then he played against Dragons when we were in Italy in last October, and then he
Mm.
also got another brace, and then he was quite welcomed by the European writers, and they wrote him up, and that gave him confidence. And he still wasn't in our mix as a starter, but then he got the opportunity and he took it with both hands, coming in late, playing less game than other players, and scoring all this time. So unfortunately, he got an injury in the latter part of the season before the final, but he's still in good spirits. Even Roos, on the other hand, we also mentioned. I mean, he was a holding back at the Sharks. He wasn't even in the mix because they had Pepsi Levy, obviously, moved there, as well as our host, not sure was there as host, as well as other hosts of the sports. But then he got an opportunity to come to Stormers. He's been a good junior at this level on this side, and he's always showed promise on training, just in terms of his work ethic, his speed, his powerfulness. He's an amazing young man, very, very, very humble. You don't say sometimes the way he goes on the field, in terms of his aggression. So people will think it's arrogance, but he's actually one of the most humble people you'll meet in your life.
Mm.
So he's really turned around. Warwick obviously is an amazing player, because he's obviously he moved from the Bulls to Cape Town, not because Theo went to the Bulls, but he made a change. I'm very close with him, and he says, okay, he always wanted to play for Cape Town for the Stormers, but then he came when it was basically in the heart of COVID. So he never ever played in front of fans until a couple of weeks ago. But then we always had to manage him on training because he had a knee injury which had to be managed because it couldn't deal with the intensity of the week's training. So you were always managing him on training. But then he got the other knee injury, which ACL, etc., and then he was forced to go for operation, and he just operated both his knees. And while that's happening, other players are coming through, performing, not performing, but he's mentally tough, very positive, trained hard in the gym, kept working on his skill set. If you check his Instagram posts, he's quite active there, and you'll see how busy he is, and just progressing his personal fans with his actual training performance. And fortunately, he managed to, and he's one of those professional players you're going to meet. In terms of you hardly get players even at professional level who's at professional as in, because you'll do stuff like when you overseas example, you'll take a walk in the morning. A lot of players, they stay in the hotel and they prepare for the match, team tours, get on the bus, go to the stadium. But you would go out and then you'll say, okay, I wanted to get the feel of the light outside. Or you walk barefoot outside on grass so that you want to activate the nerves of his feet, things like that. If he's undertrained, he'll chat to the sports scientist, check his GPS. That's okay. He needs to do maybe 4 more 100 meters or 50 meters, or just to cover whatever must be covered.
Mm.
As well as if he overdid it today, he'll make sure he cuts down tomorrow, or sleeps well, eats well, trains well. And I think that professionalism pulled him through that injury, as you mentioned. And then he just came back, and in Europe, Europeans, they're very system driven. They thought they're very professional, lots of resources, great facilities, but they're not equipped to deal with the South African, if I can call it black flare, because we bring the other flare, So they don't know, our guys are in the communities. They play for years in the backyard, in the streets.
Mm.
So they're not exposed to that. The people that try to defend that sort of fake pass here, you pull a face, you step, bang, bang. They can't handle it. And he's one of the better ones, even in this country, with that double, triple step that he has, and ability to put people in space. One of the best left to right passes you will find in the country, or with little backlift, which makes defenders difficult to know when he's going to pass, and the depth is pass short or long. And it's really set the tone. I think the Stormers' success, if you look at it, the last 6 to 8 games especially, every time we were in trouble, every time we were behind, or we could score the try or create one or two or put a good kick in even last week, which leads to possession in order for you to score. So yes, to answer your question, all three of them have been amazing. They've come from the mental state in terms of injury selection, but they've really stepped up and made a difference to the team especially.
No, definitely. And I mean, now the proof is in the pudding. You have the title, and that speaks for itself. But Labib, we're gonna end it off at that for tonight. We will be having many more chats in the future about your URC title and how everything unfolds, and just getting a bit of a feel from the different players of how the season unfolded for them. But Labib, from
Mm.
team here, you know that we've always got you on speed dial when it comes to interviews. But thank you so much for taking time out of your celebrations to chat to us, and we wish you all the best for the future.
Okay, thank you as well, Nas. Keep well. Assalamu alaikum to all the
Walaikum
listeners.
salam.
Salam media.
That was the DHL Stormers skills coach Labeeb Levy giving us a bit of a background of what it took to make a success of this season. The DHL Stormers are now the inaugural champions of the United Rugby Championship. Well, if you missed that interview or just tuned in, you can press rewind and you will be able to watch the full interview. It will be up on our social media platforms as well as on YouTube. So don't miss out on that one. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be chatting to legendary football coach, one that South Africa has, let's say, a darling of South African football, if you want to call it that. We're going to be chatting to Coach Bobby Solomons, who's going to be telling us all about his coaching career.